too full to go.
Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Today is going to be another look at vintage, and we're going to focus in on a particular pen in a particular style. So these are all Sheaffer balances, all made during the 30s, and they're made of ebonized pearl. And apparently this is real pieces of abalone embedded in ebonite. I think there was some comment about how no one knows how Sheaffer did this or who did this for Sheaffer, but they certainly have survived the test of time. This one at the top was a recent acquisition from the Washington Pen Show. Is going to be sent to Beth. This is a pen I got on eBay for a very reasonable price. This is another pen which I've had in my collection for a while, so its origins are unknown. This is a second one that I got at the DC Pen Show from the same dealer that sold me the top one. This one's a little bit unique, and this is another one that I've had in my collection for a while. As you can see, there are three of these have the white dot that references lifetime. All of these have very similar balance characteristics in the shape and the size. So let's take a look at this one a little bit more closely. It's just the color is, to me, is amazing, and abalone is known for that. It looks like the chips that are used in the barrel are dyed. I don't think you can get that consistent color without dyeing them. So some of the other pens I have here have that golden ebonite chip in it, versus the chips here in the cap are more of a variety, more typical of what you might find in an abalone shell. I think abalone is kind of sensitive to heat, so the fact that they were able to put this into a celluloid material, or pyrroline as the trademark Sheaffer used from DuPont, they're all pretty much engraved, screw top. They post easily, and they were really designed. I mean, the term balance does aptly apply, as I talked about in some of my previous little reviews of these pens. It's certainly an attractive looking finish and material. So we're just going to quickly take a look at the other ones in this set, just so you can get an idea of how no two are alike. That in itself is unique, and this one also has that kind of golden abalone, but it's not quite as consistent as the golden abalone in the other pen that we just looked at, and the cap also is a little bit more golden, so these seem to be more matched. Interesting that there's no Sheaffer on the clip, but it does have a white dot. Here's another form of the pen. Again, we're taking a look at the abalone, and that golden chip seemed to be more common than I originally thought when I first was looking at this model in these series. But this one, the cap also has more of a multicolored chip in it. And this pen has been heavily used, as you can see from the scratches in it. I haven't been comfortable just trying to take the scratches out. This pen is a little bit later series, and on the clip is written Sheaffer Jr. It's a little bit thinner than the other pens I have, but it's certainly not short in length. This also has the most dense amount of abalone in it, which I think maybe Sheaffer, whoever was making this material for them, realized they could put more chips in and still retain structural integrity. They've cut these cylinders, and then the top of the cap and also the bottom of the barrel is just a plain black material with no ebonite in it. My guess is they couldn't form this. If they started bending it under heat, it would probably create a problem with this material, so therefore they just put a black cap on, which, with casual observation is not as obvious as one would think. And this is the last one in the group. This is also the shortest one. This also has some incredibly nice color in it, which is also a nice feature. And just for comparison's sake, we can take a look at the Jinhao that I reviewed a while ago that also has ebonite in it. And it has abalone in some type of an acrylic material, plastic material. Nice clear coating on the outside. As you can see, the colors and everything else are nice, but same type of idea, just like a different type of approach, more geometric here, where this is more of a random type of process. All these pens vary from about 4.5 inches to a little bit over 5 1/4. If you take a look at the nib on some of these, this is the non-lifetime nib. So this is a classic number 3 Sheaffer nib in there. All of these nibs write fine. There may be other versions of this nib, but that's kind of on the rare side. They're all the same type of feed. And some of them, the section is visualated, as Sheaffer referred to it, so you can see your ink supply in there. This one here has that section on it. As you see, it also doesn't have a nib. The pen came with a generic steel nib, so I'm going to go through my Sheaffer nib collection and see what I can find that will fit this. The nibs are, you know, they vary in size. The smaller pens have a little bit of a smaller nib on it. The two-tone nib is actually platinum is plated onto this nib to give it that smooth touch, feather touch, as Sheaffer referred to it as. When they're lifetime, they sometimes have a serial number in. As you can see, this one's at the top of the nib. So that's just a quick review of these pens. This top pen is going on to another owner, so I wanted to do this video to just kind of look at these collections that I have together as one. I'll do a writing sample of this, which is typical of the rest of the pens, and we'll now take a look at some ads that I have that present this model. This is the classic Sheaffer balance ad from 1929. It looks at balance as an ice skater on one skate. Not something you're going to find me doing, but it certainly does reflect the balance aspect of the pen. This shows some of the earlier versions of the pen. You have your green jade, your black, and your ivory and black one. You know, they focused on the lifetime warranty and other aspects of the pen, which Sheaffer felt distinguish them from their competition. It was an interesting period of time. What's also I find interesting is the fact that Wasp Company is down below on the ad. That was their low-end brand, which I've talked about. So that was the first ad that I have in my collection. Here's an ad from the 1934 Saturday Evening Post. It uses a tightrope walker, and this is when they started doing vacuum fills and visible ink supplies, but they also still, as you can see, had the lever versions. There's an illustration of the feather touch nib with the platinum plating, which is in silver, and the base of the nib is gold. They're also pushing their inks and their pencil leads. Now we zoom ahead to 1935 and we see another ad. There we can see they're promoting the Ebonized pearl version of this pen. As you come down, you also see they're promoting the desk versions of the pen and also the pen and pencil sets, which I think were quite popular back in those days. You don't find a lot of them around, but I do have a few. And they're also promoting the dry proof and a whole bunch of other things that Visible Pens is now up. The pen was introduced in 1929, and from what I've read, by about 1939, there was not much production, if anything, left. And then in the 40s, Sheaffer changed the model, did not promote it as a balance. They changed the names and done other things to promote it within that time period. So it was a short-lived pen of 10 years, but there are many of them available. I'll be doing other video reviews of some other pens of the balance line, so stay tuned for those. And now we'll take a look at a writing sample. Here's a little size comparison comparing the balance with an M800, TWSBI 580, Lamy Safari, and Pilot 78G. Here's a look at them from a nib comparison. The Sheaffer is not bad amongst this group. The section's a little narrow. A little bit narrower than the 580, but certainly a little bit beefier than the 78G, and of course Safari's into its own, but it holds up well against the test of time. We're going to put nib to paper and see how this writes. I've been using this pen for a couple of days now, so I'm familiar with it, and it is a classic Sheaffer nib for that time frame. Just unscrew the cap. The pen is very light, so posted or not posted, it feels fine in the hand. I mean, it's smooth. As you can see, it lays down a decent amount of ink, which is a little bit more. Probably a little bit of my tuning has gone into that. I did a Private Reserve DC Super Violet. I thought that was a nice color to complement the nice colors in the Ebonite. There's not any real flex to this nib, which is very typical of these Sheaffers. You're not going to find that. They were designed for carbon paper. They were designed when people needed different writing styles, and a lot of the pens of this era did have stiff nibs. Waterman was the only one that really maintained the flexible nib until later on. And the other thing that they advertise is reverse writing, which I'm not a fan of, but this thing does work. And it is a very fine line, which is also what Sheaffer advertised when they advertised this pen. I've also just did a little bit of smoothing touch up to this nib, but nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, out of the box or out of the drawer, wherever this sat for many years, it wrote pretty much well first time I put ink in it and put it to paper. So hopefully you enjoyed that look of an interesting pen from a bygone era, made of a material which no longer is available, nor is the methods of making the material known. So thank you for watching. May you have many great writing experiences. May you have a variety of them. Enjoy them to their fullest. Till later, the end.